I grew up with a really strong hatred for alcohol. I knew from a young age that alcohol was the main source of my dad's problem. When he wasn't drinking, he was the most kind-hearted, loving person you know. But once he started drinking, it was literally like there was a devil inside the man that came out. It was the strangest thing that you'd ever seen. So as a kid, I always swore to myself I wouldn't drink, which obviously didn't work out. If Hank could say it's a family tradition, well, damn it, I can too. 'Cause I come from a long line of outlaw blood. So don't you give me hell if I wanna smoke a little bud. Well, my daddy's in prison, and his daddy did too many drugs. So I think I'm doing pretty well, considering my outlaw blood. Thinking about it, my father, he didn't have a great life at all growing up as a kid. From what I understand, my grandfather was a very violent, abusive man. He was in the Outlaws motorcycle club, affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan. A bunch of things that make me real proud to say that I didn't know him growing up. So I definitely was not a normal kid. I got bullied a lot, especially through middle school. So, I've always been skinny. But back then I was like the shortest kid in the class, always. And I was just awkward. I think I had some real self-esteem issues. I could never get a girlfriend. I remember my head being bashed into the mirror in the bathroom just cause the kid was bigger than me and, kids. But I guess the good thing about moving around so much is I kept getting the chance to reinvent myself. By the time I was in 5th grade, I had attended 3 different elementary schools. So in 6th grade, I started middle school in Cantonment, Florida. And in the middle of the year, for some reason, I'm pretty sure it had something to do with money, we had to go live with my grandparents in Louisiana, and I had to switch schools then, so I went to a different middle school there. In 7th grade, we came back to Cantonment, and I went back to the middle school I started at. When 8th grade started, we had to move up to Huntsville, Alabama. I did my 8th grade year there. Well, and I also did my 9th grade year there. When my 10th grade year started, I did this weird homeschool thing with the church. I wanted to do it actually because I realized how easy it would be. Like a couple of the classes were in the church with a few kids from the youth group, and then the rest of it was at home, and I would just wait till my mom wasn't there and find the answers to everything and cheat. So after my 10th grade year, we had to move back to Florida, and I went to Tate High School for my junior year. The last time I was around a bunch of kids in this town, I was picked on, made fun of, just not cool. So I was like, man, this shit's gonna be different this year. I couldn't get a girl to look at me to save my life. When you're a freaking 15-year-old boy, that's pretty much all you care about. I brought my guitar to school and sat outside the lunchroom instead of eating lunch one day and was playing just by myself. And I'll never forget 2 of what were considered to be the hottest girls in school at the time walked up to me together and asked me if they could give me their phone number. And I got their numbers, and they walk away, and I'm just sitting there like, it clicked, like a light bulb in my head. Girls like guys that can sing and play guitar. And I'm thinking, why the hell did it take me so long to figure this shit out? After that, I was bringing my guitar to school every day. But then, of course, I had to stay consistent. So my senior year, I had to go to Louisiana again and finish off school there. But to be honest, that one was my fault. So the summer after my junior year, I turned 16, and I didn't hate alcohol anymore. I was 16 years old. I wanted to party. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to be cool, have a good time. But man, I was an angry kid. I had some serious anger issues. I don't know, my junior year of high school, I just didn't do good. I didn't care about school at all. And, actually I would skip classes and go hide out in the choir room where they had a little piano on the side. And I'd go hide in that little room and just play piano and write songs.
So this is how I feel, this is how I feel, how I feel. Baby girl, this is how I feel, it's how I feel, how I feel. Now emotions, they have taken over, my head has left my shoulders, and I'm getting older. Now I'm sitting here, all I know to be, proclaiming to you that is what I speak.
I failed geometry because I slept through the class, and I was supposed to go to summer school that summer at the local junior college. And I would wake up in the morning and drive this little $500 car that we had up to the college and act like I was going to summer school, but really I just sleep in the car. Mom had caught me lying about something, saying I was staying with one friend, but really I was staying with another, and smoking weed and drinking and all this stuff. And you know, it was like not the first time she'd caught me doing something like that. So right before my birthday, she grounded me. She said I couldn't drive the car anywhere. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even have my birthday party. We lived on our family's 300-acre farm. In the back 40 acres, there was a big old clay pit. And my buddies and I, a day before that, had taken a cooler out to the clay pit, and we stuffed it full of Four Locos, and of course iced it down. And back then, Four Locos had caffeine in them. You know, this before they changed the ingredients. They tasted horrible. We used to just chug them as fast as we can so we could get messed up. Yeah, we hid that in the clay pit. When my mom canceled my birthday thing I was gonna have with my friends down there, man, I was mad because all my friends were mad at me because all their drinks that they had bought were in that cooler and we couldn't get to them. The night after that, I think my buddy goes and grabs the cooler and brings it up. And my mom had just gone out of town, and we just sit on the porch and just drink the mess out of these Four Locos. I wake up the next day like covered in purple puke, and I'm just so angry. And I think all the anger I had, I just kind of took it and put it right there in that moment. And I looked at my buddy and I said, you know, screw it, man, let's just run away. So my mom had this little red car, and God, it was a junker. I mean, literally paid $500 for it. But I took it and went to Nashville, and then we ended up in New Mexico. Hey Mom, I know I broke your heart when I ran away from home to New Mexico in that little red car. Hey Mom, I'm sorry for the pain I caused when I got locked up and you saw your baby boy behind them bars. But you never gave up, oh, you just held on. So yeah, I went to Nashville because I had never been to Nashville, and obviously I loved music, but then we're like, where are we gonna go? So we had a plan. It was a dumb plan, but we had a plan. And my heart was just made of stone. I didn't care about anything. So he says, well, I know this girl that lives out in California, and we can make some money because she'll help us deal weed. I said, well, it sounds like a great idea. All right, let's go west. We just start heading west. We have no idea where we're going. You know, then we didn't have GPSs on our phones, and I didn't have one of those Garmin things. So we're just heading west, and you know, at some point we were running out of money. I worked at Wendy's at the time and had just gotten a paycheck, and he worked at, I think it was Domino's. I remember we had a case of Mountain Dew, and we were hungry because we were pretty much living off a box of cereal. We stopped at a gas station and traded a homeless guy a Mountain Dew for a can of tomato soup. I was smoking cigarettes like a chimney, man. And of course, I wasn't old enough to buy them, so literally, like, we would wait for the cashiers at the gas stations to walk away, and he would drive the car, and I would get out and run in and run behind the counter, grab a pack of cigarettes and run out, jump in, and we'd leave. As we're going through South Texas, like El Paso, I think is where we were, we're going through Border Patrol, and I'm thinking for sure we're gonna get caught, but they didn't stop us. They didn't question us, they just let us go. So after we made it through that, I'm thinking we're all in the clear. We're riding through New Mexico, and I don't have a seatbelt on, my shirt's off, I'm lounged back, smoking my life away. He was driving, so I was in the passenger seat, and he says, Austin, we're getting pulled over. And I thought he was messing with me. But no, we got pulled over, and the officer came to my side of the vehicle with his weapon drawn, and of course, we got arrested. One thing I'll always remember is the cop says, which one of you are missing? And we looked at each other and said, well, we both should be missing. Turns out his father never even filed him as missing. I remember feeling bad for him in that moment. I watched his eyes kind of like just go to the ground, and he acted like it didn't bother him, but it did. So that's the first time I've ever been to jail. So we go for a few days, and we're down in South New Mexico, and we go in this juvenile detention center, and I'm there until my mom comes up there to pick me up. On the way back from New Mexico, me and my mom are just going at it. I mean, I'm still pissed, and I'm just acting like a complete turd. The definition of not thinking about anybody but myself. I kept telling my mom, I'm not going home, I'm not living with you, I'll run away again. So on the way home, we stop at my grandparents' house in Louisiana. She says, well, it's a halfway point, so we're gonna stay the night here. Woke up the next morning, and they're sitting at a table, and they tell me that I'm gonna have to live with my grandparents because my mom just can't handle me, and I kept telling her I was gonna run away, and she doesn't know what to do. So then, being a dumb teenager and selfish, I was mad at her again because I was like, oh, now you're gonna make me live with them? Looking back, my thought process made zero sense. I gave her no other option. But I said, okay, you know, I need to get some air. So I stepped outside and I ran away. I didn't have a vehicle this time, so I just took off on foot. I had my backpack with a carton of cigarettes in there, and like I think I had some crackers. I walked, man, until I found a gas station that I felt like was far enough away, and I sat on the other side of the gas station, and I just sat outside smoking cigarettes. I mean, chain smoking back and forth. And I see these cops at the gas pump, and I see them look at me, but you know, I didn't really care, I guess. And one of them starts walking up to me, and I looked at him and I said, "You're looking for me, aren't you?" And he says, "Your name Austin?" I said, "Yep." He says, "Stand up, put your hands on the wall." Handcuffs me, puts me in the back of the car. I didn't know this, but apparently it's illegal for a minor to run away in Louisiana. Luckily, my grandfather was the chaplain of the sheriff's department, and so they just took me to his house. So let me tell you about my grandfather. He was Special Forces in the Air Force. Then he was a police officer, then a private investigator, and at this point, he was a Southern Baptist preacher. Pretty much one of the only Southern Baptist preachers in South Louisiana, because they're all Catholic. This man is tough. This is the man that I was about to live with for my senior year of high school.
Bad goodbyes. It's sad to see a grown man